for fear of possible defeat, and to deter the Muslims from fleeing, in which case they would fall easy prisoners in the hands of the enemy. He chose a high place for encampment. Moreover, a strategic site of this sort would surely inflict heavy losses on the polytheists if they thought of approaching or occupying his positions. In a further step, he reduced the enemy to a narrow scope of choice when they were cornered for encampment in geographically low positions that would avail them nothing of the benefits of any possible victory. At the same time, they would not be able to escape the pursuit of the Muslims in case victory sided with the latter. To make up for the quantitative shortage in fighting personnel, he chose a picked body of fighters to stand at the front. The army of the Prophet, PBUH, was thus fully mobilized on Shawwal 7th, 3H. The Messenger of Allah, PBUH, implants the spirit of bravery among his armed forces. The Messenger of Allah, PBUH, forbade the Muslims to start the fight without having an order from him. He, then, wore two armors, a front armor and a back one. He urged his companions to fight and spurred them to show stamina and steadfastness at fight. He started to implant the spirit of boldness and bravery in them, to wage and inflame his companions, and in order to stand fast in the fight, he took a sharp sword, held it in his hand, and called out unto his companions and said, "Who is ready to take this sword and give it its proper due?" Many a man set out to take it. Some of them were Ali bin Abi Talib, Az-Zubair bin al-Awwam, and Umar bin al-Khattab. But it was granted to none. Abu Du'ana Samak bin Karsha inquired, "O Messenger of Allah, what is its price?" The Prophet, PBUH, said, "It is to strike the enemy's faces with it till it was bent." So Abu Du'ana said, "O Messenger of Allah, I will take it for that price." And he was given the sword. Abu Du'ana was a man of courage who used to swagger at war. He had a red band which he wore round his head. Whenever he was head-banded, everybody knew that he was determined to fight to death. Therefore, as soon as Abu Du'ana took the Prophet, PBUH's sword, he banded his head and started strutting amongst the fighters. Watching him doing that, the Messenger of Allah, PBUH, said, "This is a sort of walking that Allah detests except in such a situation." Recruitment of the Makkan army. The idolaters applied the rose system in the mobilization of their army. The general leadership of the army was entrusted to Abu Sufyan Sakhr bin Harb, who would be in the center position of the army. Khalid bin al-Walid was on the right wing, whereas Ikrimah, the son of Abu Jahl, was on the left. Safwan bin Umayyah was in charge of infantry men. The archers were under the command of Abdullah bin Abi Rabi '. As for the standard, a squad of Bani Abd Adar were in charge to bear it.